I will follow anywhere that you tell me to. If you need a reason to be with you, I'll follow anywhere.
So I went to Starbucks. I go to Starbucks quite a bit, I'm not gonna lie. It's not something I'm proud of.
That's fair. If Starbucks were closer to me, I probably would go more.
Is it overpriced? Yes. Is it sugary? Yes. Do I sometimes feel sick after drinking it? Yes.
Well, maybe you don't get the sugary
I stopped
dairy
doing that.
products.
That actually segues perfectly because I used to always get like the Frappuccinos, like all the blended drinks with a lot of sugar.
Ick.
And I decided, I was like, I'm going to start getting the cold brew with the foam.
Oh.
It's so good with the nitro foam. So anyways, I had stopped at her parents' house and then I had to drive back home and they gave me one of those lids with a huge hole on the top.
They do that now with any cold drinks.
And I love to mix my cold brew a little bit.
Yeah, you just kind of do a little swirl.
Right.
Yeah.
This day was not having it with the swirl. And I remember I saw an Instagram video where this girl put her whole mouth over the hole.
Yeah.
And shook her head in the car.
Yeah.
And I was driving down Rochester Road.
Oh, no.
And I was like, this will be good. I put my whole mouth over it. I shook my head multiple times. It mixed. And then I turned to my left and there's just a woman sitting at a light staring at me. And I just looked away. And then the other day at work, I told Alyssa, I somehow got the cold brew foam all over my hair.
Yeah.
As I was cleaning it out, I went to get a bottle of hand sanitizer, and it was a push-down one, and I pushed, and there was so much pressure in it that it just exploded all over me. Still no one noticed. Yeah, so I've just not been having luck lately with the Starbucks.
Because you brought up cold brew, and I will not name this friend by name, but I talk about this whenever I can, because it brings me joy. You know that we flub words all the time.
Yes.
So I was at Target with, two friends, and a friend of mine wanted to get a cold brew. So he goes up, and he wanted to get the chocolate cold brew. Oh, Carl. Here, let me give you pets while I talk about cold brew. He goes up, and he says, hi, I'd like a chocolatey grando cold brew. Just butchering it. Oh, sorry, Carl. Just butchering chocolatey grando. And then, not only did the barista say, we don't have that specific cold brew, he just said, we don't have cold brew.
Oh, God.
And my friend just said, okay, and walked away and didn't order anything. And it is still one of my favorite word flubs I've ever heard in my life. On par with Aretha Franklin, the 69ers. Erectifying, some good classic ones. In regards to weird, drive-through driving things at stores, I recently was at Chipotle, and I was getting a burrito, and this guy behind me got in line and was immediately you need to change your gloves. It was very direct, which is fine, there's people with allergies and stuff, but he just ordered guac and nothing else. Just guac.
And
a container of guac. Just guac. No chips, no salsa, no food other than guac. And Chipotle has guac. I wouldn't...
It's not great.
I feel like it's comparable to store-bought guac.
Right, like a container, yeah.
And so I'm getting ready at the cash register. I get up to the cash register and I'm getting my card out, and this guy comes up with his card out and just stands right next to me. So close, Hannah. The woman who was at the cash register looked at me and said, "Are you together?" And I immediately just said, "No." Coldly. She laughed because she was like, "Are you together?" Because he was right there. And I'm like, dude, I haven't even paid yet. Can you wait a second? I was just one, the personal space. Get out of my personal space. But two, also, if someone asks if we're together, maybe you need to take a step back. Can you not? Please?
Respect our personal space.
I was already, okay, I guess he just really likes guac. I don't know. But it was very odd.
Yeah.
It's odd time,
It is odd. I wonder if he, ordered and forgot the guac.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he had already gotten food and had to run back in.
I don't know.
Maybe it was a situation where I spilled all the sweet and sour sauce,
Maybe.
and then Dad had to go back and just get a container of sweet and sour sauce.
Yeah.
It could be like that.
Could be. You never know.
But either way, cool.
My nose.
Oh boy. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice,
Strike 3.
shame on you. Fool me 3 times, strike 3. We swore we wouldn't do another sports episode twice now.
But we're back.
But we're back because you can't keep us away from those mascots.
No. The only thing that'll bring us back to sports is mascots.
Is mascots brackets. Welcome. This is Research Rank Repeat. I'm one of your co-hosts, Alyssa.
This is co-host Hannah.
And we are back for another March Madness bracket episode ranking.
Yeah.
Because we liked the first one so much. Because of how ridiculous it was.
Not only was it fun to, like, make the document with all the mascots,
Right.
and then to, like, do the bracket, but listening back to the episode, we
God.
just were so unhinged.
I, could not believe some of the things
Yeah.
we said. Some of the ways we described these mascots were truly unhinged.
Yes.
You couldn't pronounce the word hamburglar about 6 times in a row, for starters.
Yes.
There's so many other things, though. But we came up with this very last minute. I was like, hey, why don't we do this again? Because it would be interesting. We have completely different matchups this time.
Yes.
So I had matchups way early on with mascots that made it to, like, my final
Right.
4 that I had to cut earlier because just the way the matchups worked.
Yes. I think it's interesting. And I remember when I was making the document, like updating it, I said, don't worry, there's not too many differences.
You did say that.
Turns out there's 30 different teams.
There's 30
than there
new
was
teams,
last year.
so almost half the teams are new.
Right.
So we got a bunch of newcomers.
Yeah, and
both good and bad.
I lost 2 of my final 4 teams weren't even in it this year.
You did. We don't have a ton of background today because
No.
we talked about the NCAA like college bracket and tournament the last time we did it, but we do
Right.
have just some basic facts. Just as a refresher, from last year, I had a Final Four consisting of Sparty from Michigan State, Joe Brune from UCLA, Shasta was the mascot from Houston, and Sebastian, who is from Florida?
Miami. Yes.
All 4 of my Final 4 were in the tournament.
Yeah.
With my winner being Shasta, so I was 4 for 4.
Right.
Hannah, however, was not 4 for 4.
2 for 4.
Hannah also had Sparty and Joe Brune.
Yes.
But she also had Blaze, the dragon from UAB, and Webster was her winner.
Richmond.
From Richmond. And Webster, the spider, who was, by the way, a great mascot,
Yeah.
did not even make the tournament this year.
No. He made the in memoriam page on our Google Docs.
He sure did make the in memoriam page. But basically what that means is, Hannah, is that you for sure have a new winner this year. And as a spoiler alert, I too picked a new winner this year. Shasta
Yes.
did not win my bracket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, overall, I think this year's total pool of contenders was weaker. I thought it was weaker.
It was both weaker, and I had really difficult matchups where either both sucked or both were really good.
Right.
So I lost a lot of good ones pretty early on.
Yeah.
Like, my matchup in my Sweet 16 were my two of my teams in my Final Four.
Right. Yeah, and also I think there was certain divisions where I was like, none of these are really good.
Yes.
So I got my Final Four in one of them. I was like,
Yeah.
I guess this is who I'm picking.
There's one matchup that I looked at both, and I'm like, well, which worst one do I pick?
Right.
Like, they're both bad, equally bad.
There was
Yeah.
some good new mascots.
There
was
were.
some creepy new mascots.
There were.
But there were some ones I was pleasantly happy with, and I was like, this is good.
Had some shakeups.
Yeah. So last year we basically we went through the first round, explained the mascots, and said who we picked.
Yes.
We're going to do that again.
We sure are.
If you listened last year, you'll probably remember a lot of these.
Yeah, Hannah very graciously made this Google Drive document that we had to recover because we had deleted all the pictures, and we recovered an early version, thankfully. Right. Thank you, Google Drive, for storing that. Because we were like, Hannah was like, if I have to remake all this, I will not do it. Continued to make the new entries, and then I went through, listened to our old episode, and added some notes about how ways that we described these mascots in the past in case we wanted to refresh ourselves and what we thought about them. So we can utilize that.
All right, so for 2023.
2023. And if you can hear from the sounds, we both wrote ours on paper. Yes. So sorry for any rustling you may hear.
Yes. Okay, so we have... First matchup would have been Alabama, which is Big Al, who is the mascot for Alabama, which I just said. Essentially an elephant. And Alyssa's description, would you like to tell him your description?
Sure. Last year I described him as being Dumbo-esque, thick with 2 C's, and not very intimidating.
Yes.
To paraphrase.
Yes. He's just a nice looking elephant. He is very non-intimidating. He looks very sweet. Nice blue eyes. Just wearing an Alabama shirt. We had a newcomer from Texas A&M Corpus Christi, which, fun fact, we had a friend who lived in Corpus Christi.
We sure did.
Izzy the Islander. How would you describe Izzy?
Because you don't want to describe Izzy?
Because I don't really know how to.
Izzy the Islander looks like a Muppet.
Yes.
Like, created by Jim Henson, and it's strangely looks like it would belong in the cast of the upcoming Pixar film Elemental.
It does. His head is supposed to be like waves, they said, like represent water.
Yeah.
He's got some like black framed glasses on, a little bit like a hipster look.
Yeah, like a Clark Kent.
Right. Nerd. Yes.
Nerd.
Yeah, so that was a newcomer this year. I ended up going with Big Al, mostly because Izzy didn't remind me of a sports mascot. Like you said, he reminded me of like someone that would be like in a movie or like in a Muppet show.
So I actually picked Izzy.
Okay.
I really like this design because, one, it is very different.
Right.
It's not an animal or a person. It's kind of like an inanimate object.
Right.
Like an island or being a wave of water. And frankly, I like Muppets. I like that type of design. And I thought it was like a clean design.
Okay.
It looks modern.
Okay.
So I appreciated Izzy.
Okay, I respect that.
So our next matchup, we have from Maryland, it's Tetsudo the Turtle. This is a newcomer this year. Now, this looks like a snapping turtle. Mm-hmm. He's got a real bird beak. He looks like a little silly. Like maybe he took some edibles and is feeling the effects, you know? Like he's got a little bit of a far off stare, a little bit of a mouth open situation, but like interesting.
Yeah, I just have an issue with like the shell part.
Yeah.
It's just very basic and like it's an M for Maryland, but it's just not very creative.
Yeah, it's not very designed, colorful. And then next we have from West Virginia, we have a mountaineer, which is just a man dressed like, what's the one dude's name? Paul Bunyan, Lewis and Clark, explorer, relatively offensive attire. He's got a large, maybe a 12 gauge shotgun or a rifle, raccoon cap. Relatively offensive. Hannah has written the descriptor yikes.
Yeah.
Which I think is apt.
Yeah, they just pick a different bearded man every couple years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went with Tetsudo.
I also went Tetsudo, the turtle, yes.
Pretty easy pick for me, and I also felt like the turtle design was kind of cool because we haven't had a turtle.
We've never had a turtle,
so I thought that was kind of cool.
The reptiles are relatively lacking. We had the horned frog last year, but really that was the only reptile,
last year there was a lot of cats.
Tons of cats.
And I don't think there was as many this year.
We lost a lot of cats
but still a good amount.
Yeah. All right, Hannah.
Next up. San Diego State Aztec Warrior. So this was the one from last year that we said in 2021 they were in the process of making changes to get a new mascot. As of 2023, there's still no update on when the mascot will be changed. So as for now, we go with a man basically naked, wearing what I would consider, like, kind of offensive.
It's Aztec, relatively culturally insensitive,
Yes.
probably for a white man to be dressed up
Right.
in garb for Aztecs.
Yeah, and he's got, like, a headpiece on and a shield.
And, like, a dancer's belt.
Yeah, I did look, and it looks like that is still the current mascot, so not loving that, but...
Yeah.
Anyways, so Aztec Warrior is against...
Still the mascot.
Clyde the Cougar, which was new.
Sure was.
From Charleston, South Carolina. Clyde is very much like a friendly-looking cougar. He's not intimidating. He's got very big features, like a big mouth, big nose. He kind of is like a cute cartoon-looking.
Yeah, but he doesn't have any ears.
Yeah, he does not have ears.
He's
it's
just
very strange.
lacking ears.
I think those are the ears.
But they're so pushed against his skull that
it looks like he doesn't have any.
It looks like he has no ears.
There's nothing really special about Clyde.
No.
But Clyde's not offensive,
Clyde's
so he won.
not offensive, so Clyde won. I agree.
Out of default.
Out of default, Clyde has won.
Congratulations, Clyde.
Congratulations. All right, next up, we have, returning once again from Longwood, is Elwood, the horse.
No, I'm sorry. Yes, we made the joke about Longwood.
Oh, yeah, he has Longwood.
Yes.
We made that joke.
Yes.
The school is Longwood. He is Elwood. Hannah described him as being angsty, pop punk, built, teenager having a time, but good vibes. He's got blue mohawk. Mm-hmm. He kind of looks like a rhino hippo horse situation. Hannah loves this horse.
He went pretty far last year for me.
He did,
Not
yeah.
my final four, but he made it pretty
liked
far.
him.
Yes, I did.
And our other option from Furman is South Carolina is the Paladin, which is a newcomer. This I would describe as like a knight, but with accents of purple. My mom said he, quote, looked like a ninja. So imagine a knight ninja, and I think that'll give you all you need.
Yeah. Where did you go this?
If you remember last time, Hannah, I was not particularly hot on Elwood there.
You didn't like the Longwood, yes.
I did not like the Longwood. And honestly, I really like this design. I think this knight costume is really interesting. Mm-hmm. I think it's really different. I like the purple with, like, accents. I like the face design. Like, it's relatively undetailed, but I think it's really well done. Like, minimalistic design. I think works really well. I really like it.
Okay. To no one's shock went with Elwood again.
I figured you
I just really like Elwood. I think because he's, like, different. Like, a lot of the mascots are either meant to look, like, intimidating or meant to look, like, cute or something, but I feel like Elwood is kind of just, like, out there.
Yeah.
Just enjoying life. And I do like the design. I like the colors of Furman's. I just think I couldn't cut Elwood in the first round.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I assumed that would be the case.
Yes. But I did like this new design.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up we had Crichton, which was Billy Blue Jay out of Nebraska. My description of him last year was nice smile, cute eyes, small body. I still have the same description of him. He's just a very, like, cute-looking mascot.
Yeah.
I like the colors. I like the blue and the whites. And he's got, like, this big smile. And just looks like he's having a fun time.
Yeah.
Against North Carolina State, Mr. Wolf. This was new.
This is a new one.
I wrote, he is the man has the eyes of someone who's lived through some shit. It's basically like he's like a wolf, but he's got like this little hat on, and his eyes just look like, I don't know.
He looks like he showed up to work hungover after
Yes.
a bender. Like, he's not slept. He's, like, on drugs, some sort of drugs, hungover, needs a shave.
Yeah.
Needs a bath.
Needs food.
Yeah, he looks distressed.
Yes. I picked
Billy Blue Jay. Yeah,
Billy.
Billy Blue Jay was the clear frontrunner of these two.
Yes.
Mr. Wolf is just...
Mr. Wolf is...
He's having some tough times.
Yeah. Things will get better, Mr. Wolf.
Things will get better, Mr. Wolf. Just you wait. All right, so returning, we have Baylor, we have Bruiser the Bear. I described him as having a fun face, and he looks like he's having a good time. And I think that's pretty accurate. He's a bear. He's, like, somewhat intimidating, but, you know, like, you wouldn't be afraid of him. Yeah, he's just here to have a good time. And new this year from UC Santa Barbara is the Gaucho, which I would describe as, like, if the Hamburglar got put in prison and grew a really big mustache and had seen some tough times.
Yeah.
This man is scary, I would say. I'm unsure if it's offensive or not.
Yeah.
Unsure.
I couldn't decide, and so because I couldn't decide, I went with Bruiser.
I also went Bruiser as well,
I don't think Bruiser's the best mascot, but I'm not sure how I feel about this.
Yeah, his face he's got a lot of face. His lower half of his face is like 2/3 of the head.
You know that episode of SpongeBob where Squidward
he's like chiseled?
When Zac Efron busted his jaw and everyone said
Yeah.
that he got face surgery and
It's like
that
the
he looked
crimson
like
chin.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that.
I gotcha.
But yeah.
Yeah, so I did not pick the Gaucho.
No, I did not
I'm
either.
sorry to this man.
Okay. Next we have Missouri, Truman the Tiger, which was from last year.
No, this one's new.
No, this is new.
This is a new. There were so many tigers.
Okay. It's hard to remember.
It's hard to remember the tigers.
Truman the Tiger. He's a tiger. But
he looks like a mouse.
He does look like he just went to the doctor and they told him that they were going to have to stick a finger up his ass. He's making the pucker face.
He's very much like the cowardly lion in mascot form.
Yeah, but he's got a very small mouth. His eyes are tiny. He does look like the face of a mouse on the body of a tiger.
His proportions are very weird.
Yeah. And his ears are very small.
Yeah.
Again. And his paws are too.
It's just a design choice was made.
Against another newcomer, Utah State Big Blue, who is essentially a blue ram.
I think he's supposed to be a boar.
A boar?
Or a cow.
Okay.
A bull. Something.
Bull.
Yeah.
Some sort of
bull or a boar or something like that.
He's got the horns.
I think he's a bull.
He looks somewhat intimidating. You know, he's got a face.
His face isn't symmetrical.
No.
He's
it bothers
just, like,
me.
slightly off. The design is there, but just slightly wrong.
Right. They got part of it right, and then they just kind of rushed the end.
Yeah.
Having said that, though, I did go with Big Blue.
I actually went with Truman.
Okay.
I thought those two, I had a really hard time because they
Yeah.
both were equally as bad in my eyes. But I thought Truman bothered me less than Big Blue did. So I went with Truman.
They were very comparable in the fact that I wasn't crazy about either, but they both had issues.
Yeah.
And I just thought that Big Blue was a little bit more, like, intimidating.
Yeah. This one was a hard one for me in terms of just trying to determine what I thought
Right.
the better of the two was.
Yeah.
All right, so next we have Arizona, which is the team I picked for my bracket this year that immediately got out the first round. But somehow I'm still in first place. It doesn't make any sense to me, but here we are. It's the way of the bracket system, Hannah. So Arizona has Wilbur, who is some sort of a cat, I believe. I described him last year as being a redneck with a hat, a bucktooth smile, and the hat being a bucket hat. I said that if we went to visit our grandparents, I may see this man on a front porch of some random house in the mountains. And I think that's pretty accurate. He is a cat, but like an old man, like kind of redneck cat, just hanging out.
He's like the frat boy who never left college.
Yeah.
Like the man who goes back to his frat and thinks he's still.
And then new this year, we have from Princeton, the mascot known as the Tiger. And honestly, this is by far the most intimidating mascot in this entire lineup. He looks ferocious.
Yeah.
As an actual tiger, he is not a character tiger. He's not a tigger. He is a tiger, a real tiger, and he is scary. And honestly, that's why I picked the tiger.
Yeah, I did too.
I really liked this design.
He's got like these red eyes.
It was an appropriate level of intimidating.
Yeah. Yeah, I also picked him.
Yeah.
I think he definitely, I would agree, the most intimidating mascot of the field. Okay, next. Next we have Purdue, Pete, out of Purdue, Indiana.
Back again, the Boilermaker.
Our dad said today
Oh my god, my dad... So today I was mentioning that we were recording this episode and was talking about some of the mascots, and my dad, unprompted, said, I really like Purdue Pete.
Yeah.
And I was like, excuse me? The Boilermaker? So my dad's favorite mascot is apparently Purdue Pete.
Right. I said last year he's seen some hard times. Howdy Doody-esque. Industry man. Old design like Tonka. Yeah, he's just got a very old-fashioned design and just... He's having a rough time.
He is.
Yeah.
I think he's seen some hard times.
Right.
Yeah.
Against a newcomer, Fairleigh
Yeah.
Dickinson.
I believe, yes, is the name of the school.
So Nitro is the mascot. He is essentially like a
he kind of looks like the Pistons mascot.
Yeah, he does remind me of like the Pistons, like a maverick, like
blue horse.
Blue horse with like a red mane hair. A little bit intimidating, but he's got weird teeth going on.
He does have weird teeth.
Yeah, but he's not.
However,
Purdue Pete.
he's not Purdue Pete, so therefore
So
Nitro won mine as well.
Yes.
I agree. I'm on the same page. Oh God, Memphis. Okay, so next up we have returning once again Pouncer from Memphis. Now Pouncer, Hannah described as you laughed first, saying, "Is he a tiger?" Because you weren't sure. And then you said he is a Tigger type of tiger, has a friendly face. And then I said he looks too sad, he's dead inside and seen some shit. And Hannah replied that you didn't notice the sadness in his eyes. And
That's all I could focus on this year,
honestly as accurate as we can hope for.
Yes.
And next, we have a newcomer, Florida Atlantic University, who's actually in the Final Four right now. Owlsley, our first owl mascot. This owl is very bright-eyed. He looks very cheery, like he'll cheer you on to victory. He's got, like, feather arms. He's got, like, a really wide owl face, but a really good designed face.
Yeah.
And honestly, really like Owlsley.
Yes.
Went for Owlsley.
I did too. I was very impressed.
I was too.
And I was glad we got an owl.
Yeah. I was too. We got 2 owls this year,
Yes.
actually.
Duke. We have the Blue Devil.
Oh, back again.
Last year I pronounced it wrong 3 times, but I said he looks like the Hamburglar.
Yes.
Got it right this time.
Yes.
That he has a chiseled face and big ears.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just like this weird, creepy, devil-looking man. I have nothing else to say about this man. Then we had a newcomer from Oral Roberts, Eli the Golden Eagle. Eli he's got like a big beak. He's got golden fur. Not much to him. He's pretty simple. He reminds me very much of like a high school mascot. Like he kind of reminds me of our mascot from high school.
He is
that was like a cougar,
simplistic in that
but very
way,
simplistic.
Yes. Yeah.
I went with the Blue Devil.
See, this year I changed my mind. Last year I went with the Blue Devil. This year I went with Eli. I decided that last year I was like, I kind of like the Blue Devil. This year it was not working for me, so I thought Eli was slightly better.
Okay.
Less offensive to my eyes.
Nice. Okay.
We got a returning character, Smokey, the Blue Point Hound from Tennessee. Last year I described him as having goofy vibes. Oh, sorry, you described him as having goofy vibes, friendly, and you liked the fun play on words of Smokey, the Smoky Mountain Dog.
Yes.
And yeah, he looks like a hound dog. He's got a slightly saddened face because only you can prevent forest fires. But yeah, he's just like a fun dog, you know? He's just hanging out. He's here to just support you. And then a newcomer this year from Louisiana is Cayenne. Hannah has written Vanilla Ice Wannabe. Now, how does one describe this, Hannah? It's supposed to be a cayenne pepper.
Right.
With the stem being hair. It ends up looking like the hair of a Dragon Ball Z character.
Yeah.
And the face is that of a Thum
Yes.
from Spy Kids, but like the facial expression of somebody who is trying to be photogenic who's not. Like,
or when you like have a massive shit coming out of you and you just
or like your awkward
cleanse.
smile situation. I don't really know if there's any other way to describe
He's wearing
him.
like very like baggy like basketball shorts and like a necklace
and a
like,
necklace and some bright red like
Yeah.
Converse looking shoes. This is scary.
I picked Smokey.
I picked Smokey too.
Yeah.
I strongly supported Smokey in this endeavor because I looked at that, Hannah, and I went, oh my god.
When I Googled it, I was horrified.
I was like, oh my goodness.
Okay. Next we have Kentucky, the Wildcat. I said, last year I described him as a cat, not impressive, tiny face, proportions are off, and I agree. He has the smallest head.
Comparatively to his hands. Tiny head.
Tiny head, tiny... Huge paws, huge feet, tiny head. It's just very disproportionate.
I would agree.
Against returning a fan favorite
God.
from Providence, Friar Dom. I wrote last year, a friar, white robe, very creepy. This man is just a friar with a white robe, black.
It's just a friar.
Hood.
Yeah.
I actually went with the Wildcat.
I did too.
Because I don't know if Friar Dom is offensive or
This is one of those lineups where I said, like, the ones that were bad, it was like you got two just shit mascots together, and this is one of them where I was like, I have to pick the Wildcat?
Friar Dom makes me very uncomfortable.
I will not pick Friar Dom. I refuse.
Yes.
This man, his expectations are too high. He cannot be trusted.
Yes.
Just as an anecdote, I posted Carl to my Instagram story, and said, there is no man I love more than Carl. This includes my husband.
Oh my god. Roasted.
Just thought you should know that. Anyway, I'm just looking at this monstrosity in front of me, and I am concerned. Truly I am.
I forgot about this. Oh god, I hate this.
So next up, a newcomer from Kansas State is Willie the Wildcat. Hannah wrote a note that says, quote, giving me Chuck E. Cheese on crack vibes, and honestly, what are these proportions? Now, first of all, Hannah, this isn't a mascot costume. It's just the head.
It's just the head.
It's a person, a normal person wearing basketball attire with a cat head on. Except it doesn't really look like a cat. It looks like a mix between a weasel and a rat. On crack, accurate, Hannah. Chuck E. Cheese on crack. The face is incredibly elongated with a snarling-esque mouse and a mouth, sorry, not mouse, and like very beady eyes. I don't know what else to say. Like, it's disturbing.
Yeah.
It's displeasing to look at. And our other one is a returning from Montana State is Champ the Cougar. Hannah said last year that it looks like a typical cougar, but jacked and a thick boy. He is a relatively well-designed cougar. He is very jacked and a thick boy, I agree with Hannah. Mm-hmm. The cougar face is relatively pleasing. It's maybe not the most intimidating or the most detailed, but, like, it's pleasant to look at. And you know what? It's not this monstrosity Willie the Wildcat, so therefore Champ automatically won.
Champ had to win.
Champ had to win. Ironically, how this worked out.
Yes. Yeah, so we have Michigan State, Sparty. Alyssa said of him last year, big hulking face, jacked. You are not afraid of him. Yeah, good old Sparty from our alum.
Yes, the alum.
Yeah, Sparty's just, typical Spartan. He looks tough, but he also looks nice at the same time.
And also, Sparty is Spartan strong,
yes.
So we support Sparty.
Just so happened to line up against USC Tommy. I actually wrote Trojan.
You did last year, and I kept that.
Meant to be Trojan. Alyssa said that he looked like an artist's cartoon rendition and had been awake for 18 hours, and his smile was hiding something. And I said he's done crack. I would like to agree with that. He is just his face looks horrifying.
It's like when those cartoonists do that caricature of you?
Yeah.
Like they'll do a rendition? Yeah. It looks like that.
Like all the features are very exaggerated.
Yes.
And he doesn't even look very thick.
No.
On the bottom part.
No.
I went with Sparty.
You have to.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, this is not the Spartan that I told needed to have an enema because he was that constipated. That was a different Spartan.
There was another Spartan.
There was one other one that was the worst Spartan of the three. But weirdly enough, that the Spartan just lined up, that we had both of them in the first round. Like, when I got to that lineup, I was like, that's funny, but we know who's going to win that one. And we have one more of this side of the bracket. From Marquette is the Golden Eagle, known as Iggy as of 2020. Hannah, quote, said, if that isn't a red-blooded American, I don't know what is. And yeah, he is a Golden Eagle. He's got just a normal bird face. He's got bird wings. It does not, it's definitely there are no feathers. It just looks like fur in the shape of a wing. The face is relatively pleasant.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like amazing bird. There's, there are better birds, but it's not unpleasant. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
And next we have from Vermont, Rally, a returning cat. Hannah just struggled to describe Rally. You said he has cat-like eyes, and then I said he looks like a weasel.
Yeah.
The face is kind of startling.
Yeah.
The proportions are a bit weird. The eyes are very, like, cat eyes. They have the slits, like they're...
Right.
The face is perpetually open in, like, a yell, snarl of sorts. It's just this kind of sad to look at.
The man's ready to suck dick at any moment with that mouth open.
He's just waiting to receive.
He's just waiting for a penis.
Waiting to receive.
He's waiting for Kansas.
Oh, he is. That's true.
I went with Iggy.
I went with Iggy as well.
I couldn't get behind Rally.
I couldn't get behind Rally either.
Couldn't rally for Rally.
Can't take him from behind. All right.
Let's throw up a little bit.
Hannah, would you like to start the second half of our bracket?
Yes. Ooh, okay. Hold on.
Take a minute.
Ooh. I'm a child.
Collect yourself.
I'm a child. Okay.
Hooves.
We have Houston. Out of Houston, we have Shasta.
Yes.
Which was your...
My front runner winner
Yes.
last year, yes.
And I think I eliminated Shasta the first round last year.
You did because you had Blaze.
Yes.
The dragon. Yes.
I think this was you.
Sorry, this was like the first one. I
Okay.
forgot it was me. Yes.
Alyssa described Shasta as very friendly, fluffy, nice face. Again, one of the only female mascots. I think there was only one other female
the kangaroo,
mascot.
Zippy.
No, this year.
Oh, this year.
There was like a duo.
There was a duo, yes. Yeah.
Only female mascot on her own. Yeah, Shasta is just a very, like... I do really like her design. The only reason she got eliminated from me last year was because one of my final fours ended up being against her in the first round.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's got really good design. She's, like, intimidating, yet also just, like, looks pretty realistic. Mm-hmm. Going against a newcomer out of northern Kentucky, Victor E. Viking. He's a Viking. He's got, like, yellow braids, got a butt chin.
He's got a handlebar mustache.
Yeah, he's really only wearing like a shirt,
leggings and some boots.
Yeah, he's not very intimidating though. He's just he's okay. He's kind of intimidating.
He's okay.
Anyways, I went with Shasta.
I did too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think of the human-esque characters, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't look at it and go, but I'm not like
it's
the
not
Smarty
bad, but
where I'm
I
like,
wasn't blown away.
Yes, exactly.
Right. I think part of my problem is like, if you're gonna go for the, if you're gonna go for like the intimidating look, you have to go all.
You gotta commit. Yeah, you have to commit. Like the tiger from Princeton, that was a commit. They committed.
Yes.
Okay, so returning face from Iowa is Herky the Hawk. I described him as being that he would be in the Bee Movie because he looks like a bee, but played by Bill Burr. And Hannah said that Herky did cocaine beforehand. And I think that's accurate. It does not look like a hawk. The way the mouth is designed, it makes it look like a bee. The beak, like, opens on the sides, so it's like Harvey Dent post-burned, where, like, you can see his jaw through his mouth. It's that sort of situation, but on both sides. It's just disturbing, in all honesty. I am disturbed.
Yeah, I agree.
And also returning is, from Auburn, is Aubie, the tiger. And Hannah described him as looking like Tigger, a little older, but chill. And I think that's a pretty accurate description. He looks like an old, like, he's like a hippie tiger. He's like he's relaxed. He's just here to hang. He's a little worn out, but he'll support you.
Just trying to do his last couple of years before he collects his Social Security.
Yeah, and retires out.
I went with Aubie.
I also went with Aubie as well.
Yeah,
perfectly
not that hard
fine.
to pick.
Not that hard. Yeah, I was not gonna pick Herky.
Okay. All right, we have out of Miami, Sebastian, the Ibis. Ibis. Alyssa last year said, big, huge beak, tiny sailor hat, good intimidation, good color combo. Yeah, he's a very nice color combo. It's an orange and green. He's got little sailor hat, like she said, a nice orange beak, and some yellow feet. He is very intimidating, but also like a very good design, I would agree. Mm-hmm. Out of Drake, we have Spike, a bulldog.
I believe it's a bulldog, yeah.
Not anything really special. Just, like a gray and white bulldog head, and then the body's basically just like fur, gray fur arms. Big mouth, but that's pretty much it. Good proportion, I will say.
Yeah, good proportion.
Compared to, like,
perfectly fine
the
mascot.
wildcat, yeah.
I went with Sebastian.
I did too.
Of course. I love this bird. He was in my Final Four last year. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a great design, just in a general sense, for a seabird. We'll support Sebastian until the end of time.
Yes.
All right, so next up we have a returning from Indiana, the Hoosiers, which is the fans. So the mascots are fans.
Yes.
The Hoosiers. That's all that needs to be said about that. And then from Kent State, we have Flash, who also looks like a hawk, and he almost has the same face as Herky, but this one works because it's not as exaggerated. Like, it's very clearly that he's got like a grimace, and the beak just happens to overlap the grimace. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look like half of his face is missing. He's just like a brown bird. He's got yellow legs. He's like a moderate, intimidating, average at best.
And he wins because he's a mascot.
And he wins because he's a real mascot. Yes. Correct.
That's how it goes sometimes. Okay, from Iowa State, we have Cy the Cardinal. Alyssa said, face would show up in my sleep paralysis dreams, waiting to take me to hell. Yeah, he's got a very, like the hawk, like Iowa, he's got like the very big mouth, but it's not connected in the middle, which is almost worse. He's got these crazy blue eyes that are just staring into your soul.
They'll drag you straight to hell.
Yeah. And his mouth looks like a jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, the smile goes too far.
Yeah.
The Joker.
Looks like someone just used Sharpie and drew it on.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yes. Against, this was new.
This is new.
Out of Pittsburgh, Rock the Panther. He's nice brown looking panther. He's pretty simple, pretty simplistic, but I think he has like a nice design. The face is nice. It's a little
rat.
Yeah, it's a little rat.
Borderline rat.
His like mouth.
Yeah, his mouth teeth. Snout area is a little
ratty looking.
Yeah, I don't know why a lot of these colleges have this issue where they create cats and they look more like rats than they do cats. This one, however, looks more cat than rat, but it's a recurring thing where.
Yeah, and Rock wins because he's not creepy.
I agree. Accurate. Okay. Now, this one, I had to, really look at this one because I just was so confused. So, from Xavier, we have a duo of the Musketeer and the Blob. Why? The Blob, Hannah said, looks like Elmo and the Cookie Monster had a child. It also a little bit of Grover in there as well. If I were to describe what the Blob is, it looks like the face of Mr. Potato Head instilled onto just like a rug of blue. It's just a man wearing a shag carpet that's not fitted in any way. It's just like a loose, saggy ball sack. And then also, there's a Musketeer. Honestly, the Musketeer is fine. He's got, the hat with the feather. He's got a mustache. He's got, a very, he looks like a Musketeer. And the actual caricature man face is not that bad. However, they are a combo.
I don't understand the combo.
And they come together. And I don't understand what the Blob is and what the relevance is. And therefore, it's confusing.
I think the Musketeer on its own would be a pretty good mascot.
Fine, yeah.
But I don't understand the combo.
I do not understand. Next, we have from Kennesaw State.
I think it's Kennesaw, yeah.
It's the owl. And so this is the other owl we have introduced this year. However, this owl is a little bit smaller. The face is more realistic owl. It's harsher lines. It's a black owl with a white face and a yellow beak. Relatively intimidating. However, very thin.
Yes.
There really is no body. It just is a very small, thin framed owl. However, because it's not the blob,
yes,
the owl wins.
The owl does win. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Out of Texas A&M, we have Reveal?
I think it's Revel.
Revel?
Revel. Like
Revel?
Revel, like
Revel.
a rebel,
Okay.
Revel. That was what I got.
So they don't really have a mascot per se, but they do have a collie named Rebel, who is technically their mascot. Like Michigan, who has the...
Nothing.
Ooh, against Penn State, the Nittany Lion, and it is the most confusing mascot.
Now here's the thing. Penn State is a Big Ten school.
Yes.
And generally, the Big Ten schools are all, like, wealthy enough that you can make... I mean, unless you're Michigan, you just don't have a mascot. You have the money to design a mascot. What the fuck is this, Hannah?
This looks like something I would have paper mache'd in, like, elementary
school. It looks like a kindergartner's drawing of a dog. The face
the proportions are so off.
The body shape, the head, it looks like a bat.
Look how...
Like, does it not look like a bat?
The neck?
The neck to head proportion
it just doesn't make sense.
Wrong, Hannah. The mouth is just a black abyss. Definitely waiting for blowjobs, but you don't want the teeth.
It would bite your dick clean off.
Yeah. It looks like a bat head.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
It's terrifying. I was the most disturbed by this, because sometimes these smaller schools make it in, and they don't necessarily have a huge budget for their sports stuff, so I'd understand that they don't necessarily have, like, a really well-designed mascot, right. But this is Penn State.
Yeah.
And sure, they've had some shit over the years, and rightfully have had to pay people money for those issues. However, that's the best they got. Terrifying, Hannah.
Rebel won, even though it's not a mascot.
Rebel won. I agree. Rebel,
because it's not
the real collie, actual collie won because I could not pick this monstrosity.
Yes.
Absolutely not. I refused.
Agreed.
All right, so returning this year from Texas is Hookem, the longhorn cow. I described him last year as being both built and stacked, and he had a cute little tiny cowboy hat. And I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, he's cute.
He's a cow. He's got the long horns. He's got, like, a not super intimidating, but he's kind of built, but he's got, like, a soft features. Like, you would not be afraid of him.
I like his, like, big mouth, though. Yeah. It looks realistic.
Yeah, I like the design. It's, like, it's a good amount of, like, animatedness to realisticness.
Right. Yeah.
And so, returning also, unfortunately, from Colgate is the Raiders. Hannah described him as being ashen gray, and that he looks like he died and came back to life. So it's a raider, but kind of pirate in nature. It's a man with a red hat. He's got like a Barbossa hat from Pirates of the Caribbean with red hair and red eyes and gray skin. What else can we say about this man?
I didn't pick him.
I didn't either.
I picked Hookem.
I sure picked Hookem.
Because I don't like...
Terrifying.
The gray.
Yeah, the gray skin is really...
It's really displeasing.
Yeah.
You want to be intimidating, but that's just too much.
It's
not intimidating
either. Too zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We have Kansas Big J. I said last year, Jayhawk, Pac-Man head, stares into your soul.
Oh, sorry, I said that.
Oh, sorry. Alyssa said Jayhawk, Pac-Man head, stares into your soul. I said the head looks like the tip of a penis, and it still does. His penis head could fit inside the Nittany Lion's mouth.
Oh my god.
Anyways, yeah. So he's a Jayhawk. He does have the head of a Pac-Man, like a blue body. His proportions are just very strange, and his head is very strange. That's really all I want to say.
I think that's all there is to say.
Against a newcomer, a duo, a female-male duo out of Howard. They're just called the Bison. Mm-hmm. And they're just, I will say they're a little, like, puppety.
Yeah.
Like, they look like, the puppets that you used to put on your hands.
Yeah.
But they're cute. It's like a female-male duo. They got, like, they both have, like, a different outfit on. And not a lot of, like, detail. more simplistic, but I think they're, together as a duo, it's kind of cute.
Yeah.
And it's not a penis head.
Hannah, once you've said that this bird looks like, his head looks like the tip of a penis, I cannot look at this bird and take it seriously. So I had to pick bison.
I did too.
The duo of the bison. Because the plural of bison is bison.
Right.
So
it's also correct.
It's also, yes.
They were not incorrect by just calling them bison.
Correct. All right, moving on. So, another returning face from Arkansas is Big Red. Hannah last year described him as being a giant red boar, looks intimidating, but not at the same time, with thick eyebrows. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's a red boar. He is fully red. He's got, like, the kind of angry eyebrows, so he's a little intimidating, but he's, like, enough of a caricature that, like, it's not scary intimidating. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just intimidating. And honestly, great design. I'm on board with Big Red. I think we both had him go relatively far last year. Against Illinois. Now, Illinois previously had chief mascots, and in 2020, they voted on a new mascot to be a kingfisher, which is a type of bird. However, they still have not created said kingfisher mascot yet. So therefore, based on the chief mascot, I had to pick
Big Red.
Big Red.
Yes.
Automatically by default.
Oh God. When I realized that St. Mary's was once again in this tournament.
Gideon is back once again.
Gideon. Last year I wrote, if you ever went on a blind date and he shows up, you are dead. I said, I hate that in 2023 he is still here. My thoughts haven't changed. Alyssa said last year, has had multiple plastic surgeries. Jim Carrey in The Mask, but not green. Looks like he wants to kill you.
It's just a man with a cape.
It's horrifying.
And a headband?
It's very horrifying.
I don't get it.
If we do this next year and St. Mary's makes the tournament
I swear to God, I'm going to lose my
it.
man. Gideon has to appear in this again. I will lose it.
I'm not doing it. Against a newcomer from VCU, Rodney the Ram. Rodney is actually pretty intimidating. He's got big horns, like brown horns. He's got like a lighter coat skin. He's got, some pretty big arm muscles. Pretty because some of the mascots are very skinny proportioned. He's actually pretty built. And he's got kind of these eyes that are staring into your soul a little bit. Like a smile, but like a creepy smile.
Yeah.
But he's not Gideon.
He's not Gideon, so he automatically wins. You know what he kind of looks like? Do you remember the animated Mighty Ducks show, but with real ducks? His face kind of reminds me of their faces in that show, where it's just slightly off-putting.
Right.
But he's not Gideon.
But he's not Gideon.
So automatically wins.
Yeah.
All right, so another returning face from Yukon is Jonathan the Husky. Last year I said the husky head looks accurate, but it looks like he's wearing boot-cut pants. I think that's very valid. Not built. To be fair, it's a husky, and huskies wouldn't be built to begin with.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a husky. I think that's really all there is to say about Jonathan. Facing off against Jonathan from Iona is Killian, which my dad made a very good comment today that I thought was accurate. He looks like the face of someone who would be playing a leprechaun, but with a red outfit. And my dad said, quote, he looks like the evil man from Luck of the Irish.
What I thought.
And I was like, that is incredibly accurate. He's also in the show Psych. Yeah. I can't remember what his name is, but he's like the police chief guy. It's Ire Boy.
It's Ire.
My dad's from Cleveland. But the proportions are very weird. Mm-hmm. He's got thick arms and no neck. And the face is at a down angle is like a nightmare in a way, and there's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in.
I'm into Killian.
Really?
I picked Killian.
Incredible.
I'm somewhat attracted to Killian, which is weird because I don't even like men. But he's intimidating, but he's not to me, he's not too hokey.
This?
Yeah.
Let me just zoom in on. You're into this. This one specifically. This photo.
Yes.
This one but this one?
Kind of.
Oh my God.
I'm into it. What can I say?
Okay.
I picked Killian.
Okay. I went Jonathan the Husky because this was just a little too much for me. Fair. Not in my taste.
Right.
Yeah. But each their own, Yeah.
Coming back again, we have TCU the Horned Frog. Last year I said, but it's actually a lizard, ? I said last year, like a Pokemon, lizard-esque. He is apparently a horned frog. He does look very much like a Pokemon character. Just like a gray, dark gray, very like reptile-looking mascot. Very small like body, skinny body, but then like the head is a good proportioned head, I would say.
I would agree.
And it's kind of cool. It's interesting. It's different.
It is very
which
interesting.
I respect. I think last year we both said that too.
We both said we respected it.
We got sick of so many cats.
Yeah, there was just like 800 cats.
Right.
You just like,
it's nice
to
get
at something different. Yeah.
Yes. Going against, out of Arizona State, Sparky the Sun Devil, who kind of gives me Killian vibes, but like...
There are a little bit of Killian vibes.
He's just a yellow and red sun devil. Very like animated, like cartoon.
You know what it looks like, Hannah? Do you remember when we watched Pinocchio?
Yes.
And there's that part where the coachman, the guy who takes the children to Pleasure Island, like zooms in and looks like the devil. That is what Sparky the Sun Devil looks like, is that one frame of animation where this coach guy becomes a devil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Terrifying.
I went with a horned frog.
I also went with the horned frog as well. I'm not into the Sun Devil either.
I was into Killian.
I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Also returning from Gonzaga is Spike the Bulldog. I described Spike as having loose, flappy skin, a big bulldog face with a big underbite, and I think that's accurate. Mm-hmm. Like, he's not built in any way. Mm-hmm. The bulldog face is nice to look at. I like the underbite. I like the way they designed the head. I think it is like, it's like cute, but it's also a little intimidating, you know, but it's got like just a cute underbite. I approve of the bulldog. And also against Gonzaga is a newcomer from Grand Canyon University, Thunder, which I believe is an elk or some type of a deer, which is new. We've never had a deer elk type situation going on, an ungulate of that type before. He's got kind of like a little bit of a goofy face, but is like pleasant, is friendly, is definitely not intimidating in any way, shape, or form, but I went with Thunder.
I did too.
I kind of liked the look. I thought it was different. We didn't really see anything else like this.
We didn't have anything like this last year either.
No, we didn't.
So it was interesting to get, and I think he's like a good enough mascot.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, God. Okay. Out of Northwestern, Willie the Wildcat, which was new. He's a wildcat, but he's got like very like, he looks like he's like 80 years old.
He looks like, like old men have just random tufts of hair. It's very much that vibe.
Like they just didn't feel like growing it properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just got like random tufts of fur.
Like mutton chops.
Yeah, he's got like weird mutton chops, a weird patch on the top of his head.
Yeah.
He's just not very intimidating. And his body is just very like basic.
Why do these teams love wildcats?
I don't know.
There's so many wildcats. Pick something original.
Against, coming back from last year, Boise State Buster Bronco. I said last year, pretty small, very white teeth, creepy, yet.
And then you just left it at that, yes.
Buster is, he's a Bronco. He's got very, very white teeth, a very, like, open mouth.
I think you may have also said he looked like Barney.
Yeah.
But I may have not written that down.
Yeah, his body is very, very small. The head is, like, okay proportioned. Just not a lot going on with his character. But I liked him more than Willie.
I went with Willie or Wiley. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah.
Buster scares me.
Yeah, he does.
I can't get behind that smile and those teeth, and those just like the facial expression scares me. And I wanted to pick Buster, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah. I had a hard time with that one because they both were so terrifying.
All right. Okay, and our last and final round, a returning favorite for both of us from UCLA is Joe Baroon. Hannah said originally, okay, but Joe can get it. He's like Winnie the Pooh. And then you also added, Joe is looking better than ever.
Which I love that I'd never changed the pictures. So
no.
It was just like...
And then you also described him as very friendly looking, can't help but like him. And honestly, he looks like a bear. Mm-hmm. It's relatively realistic, but also like kind of like an actual teddy bear.
Yeah.
He's just a pleasant mascot. He's got an interesting face. pleasant to look at, very friendly.
Yeah.
I agree. And one last newcomer this year from UNC Asheville is Rocky the Bulldog. Now, this bulldog has a blockhead face. It looks like a thwomp from Mario. However, it is a dog. Its mouth is a square. Its face is like a cardboard cutout. Of all the bulldogs, I think this is the worst bulldog.
It's the worst.
And therefore, Joe Bruin is going to win immediately.
Easily.
Automatic winner. Okay, we finally finished our first round.
All right. So we both had the same 2.
We didn't.
Oh, you're wrong. Right. Okay. So I had Big Al.
You had Big Al.
Going against Tetsudo.
Yeah.
And then Alyssa had Tetsudo against
Izzy, the Islander.
I, again, went with Big Al.
I went with Izzy.
Okay.
I think Izzy works. I really like Izzy.
Yeah. You know, the more I look at Izzy, the more I'm growing on me. I just think it didn't remind me of a mascot.
It is not like your traditional mascot.
I had... Do we have the same?
We both have Clyde.
Okay, we both have Clyde. I have Clyde going against Elwood.
And I have Clyde going against Furman.
Okay, so I went with Elwood.
I went with Furman.
Okay.
I like that knight. That ninja knight, as JT would put it.
That's such a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
We
both had Billy Blue Jay.
Right, Billy Blue Jay. I had Billy Blue Jay going against Bruiser.
I also had Billy Blue Jay going against Bruiser.
Okay, and I went with Billy.
I went with Bruiser.
Okay. All right, and then I
picked Truman.
Yeah,
you had Blue.
Big Blue.
And then we both had the tiger.
We both had the tiger. I went with the tiger.
I went with the tiger as well.
Very impressed with the tiger.
I was very impressed with the tiger.
So let's get...
Tiger. Of the new mascots, that was maybe one of my favorite new mascots.
I would agree. Very intimidating. Sure. We both had Nitro going against Owsley. And I went with Owsley.
I went with Owsley as well.
I really like Owsley. I think out of the new ones, maybe my favorite.
Owsley and the tiger are my 2 favorite new mascots entering in for this season.
And then I had
You had the Blue Devil. I had Eli.
And we both had Smokey.
Smokey.
Okay. I went with Smokey.
I went with Smokey as well.
Okay.
Meow. I thought Smokey was the best of those.
I would agree.
Because I feel like the Blue Devil and Eli both were not really in that good of mascots. So I thought Smokey was the best of those.
I feel like those 2, I just kind of picked, like, my favorite of the worst.
Okay, we both had the Wildcat.
Yes. Wildcat I had going against Champ.
I also had Wildcat against Champ.
I went with Champ.
I went with Champ too because
Champ's a lot better.
If we had 2 cats against each other, I didn't want to pick Wildcat anyway.
So and we both picked the Wildcat because we couldn't pick the Friar.
Because we couldn't pick the Friar, so I kind of at a default Champ just kind of won because I refused to pick Friar Dom just out of principle, you know.
Okay, and then we both had Sparty. Against Iggy? Yep.
Against Iggy.
I went with Sparty.
I went with Sparty as well.
Yeah.
Sparty is a classic. I really think Sparty is a really well-designed mascot.
Okay, and now we're on the other side.
To the other side.
Come here, buddy. Okay, so we both had Shasta.
We did both have Shasta.
And we both had Obby.
Obby, yes.
I went with Shasta.
I went with Shasta as well.
Okay.
Considering Shasta was my winner last year, Shasta was gonna pretty much win against most things.
I think I said last year if Shasta wouldn't have been against Blaze, she would have been like a lot further in.
So then I think for the next round, we both had Sebastian.
Yes.
And I had Sebastian against Flash.
I did too.
Okay.
Yep. I went with Sebastian.
I went with Sebastian as well. Yeah. Sebastian made it to my Final Four last year and was a fan favorite of both of us. So I still think it's a very, very well designed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I agree.
Maybe the most well designed bird of any of the birds.
Of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. And then we both had Rock.
Yep.
Against the owl.
Yes.
I went with the owl.
I went with the owl.
I really like the owl.
I really like the owl too.
I agree what you said. I really like the design of the face.
Yeah, I think the face is really well done.
And I think it's intimidating, but it's also like really cool.
Yeah.
How they did the design.
Yeah, I agree.
And just impressive. And then we both had Rebel.
Yep.
Against Hookem.
Against Hookem, yeah.
I went with Hookem.
I went with Hookem as well.
I think that One, I think that Hook'em's an actual mascot.
Yes.
And I also think that Hook'em's a good design as well.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah, I would agree.
So
yeah, I like the cows. I think Hook'em is a pretty good
I remember last year. I think we both liked Hook'em too.
Yeah, Hook'em I think made it to my Elite 8 last year.
I remember Hook'em
pretty far
being one that I liked. Okay, we both had the Bison.
Yes.
Against
Big Red. Yep.
I went with Big Red.
I went with Big Red as well. Big Red made it pretty far in my bracket last year, and I think that still stands. I think it's a pretty well designed and like unique mascot.
Yeah, I like the Bison. I just think they're a little too simple.
They're a little simple.
Yeah, and I honestly, I feel like some of the, like Howard, I don't think is a huge school.
Yeah.
I feel like some of the smaller schools maybe don't have a bigger budget
yes,
to compare.
Penn State could get the Bison budget and improve that.
Yes.
The Lion.
Okay,
so I think we both had Rodney against, I had Jonathan, and you had Killian, yes. You picked Killian?
I picked Killian.
I picked Jonathan.
Yeah. Something about Killian is just...
I'm surprised, to say the least, but, you know.
I was surprised, too, but there's something about him that's just charming to me.
We're all full of surprises.
Yeah.
That's the one we're doing right now. So we both have TCU.
Yes.
And I had Thunder.
I also had Thunder.
Okay.
I went with Thunder.
I went TCU.
Okay.
Yeah, I really think the Horned Frog is unique.
Yeah.
I think that makes it interesting, and I think it makes it stand out.
Okay.
Against all the cats and dogs.
Yeah, I like TCU. I think Thunder was cool just because it was something different.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
You had Wiley.
I had Wiley.
Willie.
Yeah.
I had Buster.
And then we both had Joe Broon.
Joe Broon. I went with Joe Broon.
Joe Broon is a solid choice. You can't go wrong with Joe Broon.
No.
Truly.
And honestly, both of the Buster and Wiley were both like not great. You just had to pick one.
All right. Sweet 16.
All right. So I had... No, wait. Where are we at?
You should have Big Al.
Yes, Big Al.
And I have Izzy.
Okay. Against Elwood.
And then I had Furman the Paladin.
Okay. I went with Elwood.
I went with the Paladin, Furman. Okay. I really like that knight. The knight is really, like, Izzy I like, but the knight I think is really...
The knight is cool.
Different, and I think it's really, like, it stands out.
And then I had Billy versus the Tiger.
And I had Bruiser versus the Tiger.
Okay.
And I picked the Tiger.
I actually went with Billy.
Okay. I really like the Tiger. Okay. I think it works in an intimidation. And of the Tigers, it's my favorite.
Yeah, that's fair. I really like, for some reason, I'm really drawn to Billy. And the bird, I just really like the design of the face. But the tiger is really cool.
So then we both have Owlsley versus Smokey.
Yes, Owlsley versus Smokey. Smokey. I went with Owlsley.
I went with Owlsley as well. I really like this owl. I think it's really interesting.
Yeah. Interesting how both owls are really good design.
Yeah.
Smokey's good.
Smokey's I remember good. Last I think
Smokey got Smokey's to good, about this.
But I really like the owl. I think it's a well-designed owl.
Okay, and then I think I have Champ versus Sparty. Okay,
yeah,
I think we
Champ
both
versus
did.
Sparty.
I went with Sparty.
I went with Sparty as well. Sparty, biases aside, is a classic.
I was going to say, we talked about it last year. Every year they rank the mascots.
Yeah.
Sparty's always up there.
Sparty's always up there. He's a well-designed mascot.
And now we move to the other side.
Other side.
So we both have Shasta
versus Sebastian.
Yes.
Now, these two teams were in my Final Four last year. And I picked Shasta over Sebastian. Okay. However, this year... I changed my mind, and I picked Sebastian.
All right. I went with Shasta, so.
Really? Yeah. Okay,
I really like Shasta.
I really like Shasta,
They're both really good.
But this year, I was like, I think I'm feeling Sebastian more than Shasta this year. But I was upset that it had to come this early.
Yeah, this could have honestly been like a Final Four matchup. Yeah. They were both good.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we both had the owl?
The owl and Hook'em.
Hook'em. Yeah. I went with the owl.
I went with Hook'em.
Okay.
This one was really hard.
Yeah.
I think they're both relatively similar.
They're both good.
In, like, they are good mascots. I like both of them. But Hook'em, I just kind of like a little bit more.
Okay.
I think because I like Owlsley more than the owl.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I was like, I think Hook'em is just a little bit better for me.
I agree. Did we both have Big Red?
I had Big Red.
Okay. I had Big Red versus Killian.
And I had Big Red versus Jonathan.
Okay.
I went with Big Red. Do you go Killian?
Killian.
Oh my god.
Killian won.
I can't believe it. I really like Big Red. I think it's a really, really well designed.
I do like Big Red too. I think last year we both said great things about Big Red.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I have the TCU Horned Frog versus Joe Brune, and you have Thunder versus Joe Brune.
Joe Brune.
Joe Brune. He has to go far. Joe Brune's a classic. You can't go wrong with Winnie the Pooh, you know?
Not at all.
There's nothing wrong with Winnie the Pooh.
We are into our Elite Eight.
We are.
I had Elwood versus Billy.
And I had Furman the Paladin versus the Tiger.
Okay.
And I went with the Paladin.
Okay.
Tiger.
Wait, you said both.
Oh, so
you said the Paladin, the Tiger.
I went with the Paladin from Furman.
Okay.
Yeah. I really liked the Paladin.
I went with Billy. I got rid of Elwood. So you went with Paladin, right?
I went with the Paladin, yes. I really like the Knight. I think it's really, for the new mascots, cool. I really like it. It's really well done.
I will say the Tiger was a good mascot.
The Tiger is a good mascot.
New mascot. And then we both had Owsley versus Sparty.
Oh,
This was really hard.
This was the worst matchup for me because of the new mascots. I love Owsley, but I also am a Spartan at heart. Yeah. And I had to pick Sparty.
I did too.
And I put a frowny face because I was so sad
it was very hard
that I had to get rid of Owsley here. Owsley could easily be in my final four.
Oh, for sure.
But against Sparty that's rough.
It's all about where they fall.
It all depends on where they fall.
When we did it this year, I was like, it'll be interesting to see, like, Shasta for me. Didn't make it past my first round last year, but it did my final four, so. Yeah. Okay, so I have Shasta versus the Owl.
I have Sebastian versus Hookem.
Okay, I went with Shasta.
I went Sebastian.
Okay.
And then I have Big Red versus Joe Brune, and you have Killian versus Joe Brune.
This was the end of Killian's run.
Okay.
There was no way that Killian could beat...
Big Red's run also ends in Joe Brune.
Yeah, there was no way that Killian could beat Joe Brune.
Yeah. So I think it's really interesting, Hannah, because my final four has 3 of the 4 people in it from last year. I have Sparty, Joe Brune, Sebastian, and then Shasta is replaced with the Paladin.
Right.
From Furman.
I have 2.
Sparty and Joe Brune.
Sparty and Joe Brune. Which last year Sparty and Joe Brune had to face each other.
Yeah, and we both had Sparty and Joe Brune in our final four.
And they had to face each other in the final four.
Yeah, so it's interesting that even with a different lineup, I still ended up with 3 of my 4 final four.
So you had Furman
versus Sparty.
Right, and I had Billy versus Sparty. I went with Sparty.
I picked Furman.
Okay.
I really like this Knight.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me because I'm so biased with Sparty.
Right.
Where I'm like, I can successfully and easily put him in my final four, but then I had a hard time where I'm like, if I am trying to be objective, the Knight is very new to me. It's very fresh, and maybe next year, if I look at it, I might not feel the same way.
Maybe next year I would have it in my...
but right now, like, this Knight is leading to the finals.
And then I had Shasta versus Joe.
Brune. And I had Sebastian versus Joe Brune.
Joe Brune won.
I picked Sebastian.
Okay.
This year, Sebastian was calling to me.
Yeah.
This Ibis is, like, the right mascot for me this year.
Okay. It's interesting. This year, my final ended up being Joe Brune versus Sparty, which last year was in the final four. This year is like my final.
All right. So in my final, I have the Paladin versus Sebastian.
Okay.
And you have Sparty versus Joe Brune.
Right.
Who is your winner?
Last year I picked Joe Brune over Sparty in the final four. This year I picked Sparty to beat Joe Brune.
Joe Brune.
Yeah.
Okay. Sebastian swept my bracket. At a certain point, once I got to Shasta and Sebastian and I decided Sebastian over Shasta, I felt like that had to be a winner. Because last year Shasta was my winner, and if I was picking something over the one that won last year, I was like, I think it's Sebastian.
Yeah.
I really love this seabird. It's just, everything about it is very well done.
It is.
It's very, like, aesthetically pleasing to me.
Something about Sparty as the mascot.
I mean, Sparty's amazing.
Yeah, it's just, you described it best when you said, I was listening to the episode, and you said he is intimidating, but also, like, you're not afraid to go up to him.
Like, children are not scared of Sparty.
To take pictures.
Yeah.
And I just think he, like, is a very, like, good representation of, like, what a mascot should be.
Yeah. Of, like, a human-esque mascot.
How you do a mascot and do it right.
Yeah.
So my final four this year were Billy against Sparty, Shasta against Joe Brune, with Sparty and Joe Brune, and then Sparty winning.
So I had the Paladin against Sparty and Sebastian against Joe Brune, and then it ended up with the Paladin against Sebastian, with Sebastian winning.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because last year I had Webster winning. Unfortunately, Webster was not even...
Webster wasn't even in the tournament,
which made me very sad, because I really did like Webster.
It's really unfortunate.
Yeah, I think this is always interesting to me because we said last year we would never do sports again. I think it's interesting to do. I think it's a fun way to do sports that works for us. That's really all I have to say.
I think maybe we were less unhinged this year because we had already seen the worst.
Well, because the ones that like really got us last year, we had seen this year. And I feel like the newer ones this year weren't as
bad. But I don't know. This is always fun for me, like, because it's a way we can do sports and like not be serious.
Right.
I'm happy to do this once a year.
Yeah, I think it's
just for fun.
I think it's cool too because we get new teams.
Right, and new
matchups.
New matchups. Yeah.
So it's fun to see.
Right. If you want to follow us, we have social media. We have an email, r3podcast@gmail.com. We have an Instagram. We have a Twitter. We will accept any questions, comments, concerns that you have. Feel free to tell us. If you have any suggestions, we are always open to those. We have people, we appreciate that. We have friends and, people who know us send us suggestions, and we do take those into consideration. And yeah, we will be back next week with the episode that was supposed to come out when this one did, but we decided to switch that due to the fact that this is March Madness and it would make sense for this to release during the month of March. So you'll see that one at some point.
Yes.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
We would like to thank Joseph McDade for our intro music. He provides free music available for all kinds of creative use. The song that we used is called Sunrise Expedition, and you can find it and his other music on his website, josephmcdade.com. If you would like to reach us, you can email us at r3podcasts@gmail.com. That's R, the number 3, podcasts@gmail.com. Or you can find us on Instagram by searching Research Rank Repeat.
Don't like it in the back.
Yeah.
Test.
Can't hit it from the back.